live chat. The Psychetruth live chat, every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on your YouTube machine. Live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. I'll answer your questions about whatever you want to talk about on the Psychetruth live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. The Psychetruth live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. Bow, 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 bow. So it's showing me the mic is working. It's showing me an audio signal. Let me know if y'all can hear it okay. Live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. The Psychetruth live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. Only on Psychetruth. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. I'm glad that I have started this live chat before without the mic being on. So I was worried for a second. Somebody said they couldn't hear, but I'm glad that it is working okay. Let me know, guys, if I need to adjust my audio up or down. I want you guys to be able to hear me, but also not be like, oh, God. Yeah. Bring it down a little bit. All right. So hello and welcome. My name is Corrina Rachel. I'm a certified holistic health coach, and this is my weekly live chat. This is your opportunity to come and ask your health-related questions. So anything under that big umbrella of weight loss, health, nutrition, fitness, stress management. These are all important topics in the realm of wellness, and that's what we are all about here at Psychetruth. So, real quick before I dive into questions, I just want to make a quick announcement that we are offering a free week trial of our subscription service. It's called wellnessplus.tv. It's like Psychetruth YouTube channel times 10. Like, we're posting way more content every week on Wellness Plus than we are able to here on YouTube. We also have a lot of the content that you're not seeing as much of on our channel because YouTube doesn't like it, like massage tutorials on the ASMR channel, all of our ASMR massage, and even things like, scalp massages. There's tons of that up on wellnessplus.tv. So for the month of October, you can try it out for free. I mean, it's only $5 a month, but you can try it out for free for a week, anytime in the month of October. Wellnessplus.tv. I hope that you will check it out. We are really proud of all of the work we've been putting into it. We have over 650 videos up already. And we're posting 10 to 30 new videos a week. It's kind of insane. All right, so I saw some questions popping in here during the song, so I'm going to do my best to get to all the questions. If you put question marks at the beginning of your question, it just makes it easier for me to see in this big, long list of comments. And if you leave a tip with your question, then YouTube will send me a little notification and actually bump your question up to the top. So if you want a guaranteed answer and you want your question answered next, leave a little tip with your question. We really, really appreciate it. It literally helps keep us alive. So you can click the little $sign underneath the comment box there. Okay, so Priyanka Kolay, that's a really pretty name. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Priyanka says, how to control cravings. how to control our cravings. So this is something that all of us experience, right? Some of us crave more toward sweet foods, some of us crave sour foods or salty foods. And what you'll probably notice is that from different times, you'll actually be craving different foods. So rather than trying to control your cravings, recognize that your cravings are your body's way of trying to communicate with you, right? So your body has all of these different nutritional needs, and unfortunately, there's not a way that your, stomach or brain or whoever it would be doing the communicating can just be like, hey, could you go take some more vitamin A? Hey there, I'm a little short on selenium. Could you go take a selenium caplet? That doesn't happen. So the best way for our bodies to communicate to us what they need is through our cravings. Now, it's important to recognize that if you are eating processed foods, junk food, fast food, and really even restaurant food, unfortunately, they are putting so many artificial ingredients in those foods that they actually start to throw off your body's craving mechanisms. So it's like a communication system, right? Houston, we have a problem. Well, what if all of a sudden it's like, Houston, geeble gobble bleebly bloop. I mean, there's no communication, right? So recognize that your cravings are your body trying to communicate with you. And if you're eating things like MSG, artificial sweeteners like sucralose and aspartame, and just huge amounts of sugar, just the pure volume of refined sugar in things like sodas and candies, unfortunately, all of those ingredients will throw off your body's communication mechanisms and throw off your cravings. So now you have these crazy sweet cravings and chocolate cravings and whatever, and you want to control them, right? Because you feel like they're controlling you. So if we can listen to our cravings and learn to try to kind of tell what they're telling us, then we can actually satisfy our cravings and let them guide us towards our ideal diet. So here's a great example. When we are craving salt, when we're craving salty foods, oftentimes that is an indication that your body is deficient in minerals. So although your body can't specifically crave calcium or magnesium or zinc, right? It can't tell us that specifically. What it can do is crave salt. Now, unfortunately, the typical table salt that most of us are eating is just one mineral, sodium. So this is why things like sea salt and Himalayan pink sea salt, pardon me, a little tongue twister there, are much, much more healthy for us. It's because they have a much wider spectrum of minerals that they give to the body. And the bottom line is that most of us are exceeding the amount of sodium that we need because they put it in everything. And again, all of our junk foods and fast foods and prepackaged foods are really high in sodium, but maybe they're really extremely low in the other minerals. So we get this imbalance of minerals. And so you can start to resolve that with something like sea salt. Either taking it with you and asking for your food with no salt and then adding your own sea salt on top. Of course, using it when you cook, stuff like that. But that's just a really good example of how your craving for potato chips, if you listen to it and you think about it and you say, rather than eating potato chips, which give me no nutrients and minerals, what if I went and chose something that was a better source of minerals? Like something that's salted with sea salt. Or, when we talk about minerals, your nuts, seeds, brown rice, all of our just kind of healthy natural foods are very, very high in minerals. Not to mention when we start getting into the vegetable kingdom, we get a lot of different nutrients there too. So here's me wrapping it up in a little bow, okay? How to control cravings. Rather than trying to control them, listen to them. They're your body trying to communicate with you. If you're eating a really unnatural diet and you're finding that you're having all these crazy cravings, Try to satisfy those cravings with natural foods. So if you have a sweet tooth, eat a piece of fruit, because it's going to give you that sugar, that sweetness you're craving, but it's also going to give you all of these other really wonderful nutrients rather than something that's, going to take nutrients from your body, which is what happens when we eat processed foods and things with lots of sugar. It actually pulls minerals and other nutrients from the body just so it can process the sugar. So listen to your cravings. Eat natural foods. I think the best recommendation is just to eat natural foods and as close to their minimally processed state as possible. Lots of vegetables, salads. I've done tons of videos called What to Eat that you can refer to for more specifics. Priyanka, really good question. Thank you so much for leaving it. Destiny Farty says, oh God, I just did the splits and I ripped my leggings. I would say that's an indication that you need better leggings. We have a lot of fitness clothing in our wardrobe closet for Psychetruth, which is why a lot of the presenters, you'll start seeing them wear the same outfits. Does tend to happen. But anyways, Free People is a brand of leggings that we have that everyone who wears them loves them. Free People, there's also a brand called Onesie or Onzie, O-N-Z-I-E. It's a really, really good brand of yoga leggings. Dragonfly brand, which we probably have the most of, at least on this channel. Another really good brand that will not split down the seams when you start doing your flexibility challenges like the splits. Becca Toms, I followed along to one of your splits videos for about 2 weeks straight, but I still never got my splits. Will I ever get them, or am I just not flexible? Can you recommend another video? Okay, Becca, so there are probably like 5 little pieces or little sub questions here that I want to address. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about flexibility in the body. Flexibility is a combination of muscular strength, okay, because we need the strength in order to do a lot of those stretches and in order to hold them long enough to actually stretch the muscle. So what creates a flexible muscle is not just going through stretches really fast. It's holding the stretches and breathing into them. So you move into a stretch and just know that you need to be in it deeply enough that it kind of makes me want to sing like an opera singer. It's kind of how I know that I'm in the sweet spot. It's like, ah! But you don't want to be pushed so far into a stretch that you're holding your breath. If you're holding your breath while you're stretching, like, oh God, I could just barely do it, you're not getting the benefit. So you got to pull back just enough so that you can sit in that stretch for at least 30 seconds and breathe into it. One of the cues we hear a lot in yoga is relax your face. And it's a good cue because what you'll realize when you get into a difficult pose or stretch is that you're like, and that's an indication that you're not going to get the benefit from that stretch you're doing. So hold the stretches at least 30 seconds. Only go as deeply into a stretch as you're still able to breathe into it and relax your face while you're stretching. Okay, second thing I want to touch on. Okay, so she's like, oh man, I did this video for 2 weeks straight and I didn't get my splits. But let's talk about your life. Becca, let's just assume that you're 17. I'm just kind of lowballing in age here. So, or, we could assume that you're 25 or you're 30. Right, so you can think about the duration of your life that you've spent maybe sedentary or not stretching, not building that strength and flexibility. Well, if it's been 17 years of not really stretching or being really active, then how in 2 weeks do you expect to completely change your body and build in flexibility that sometimes takes people, years of practice to get to? So 2 weeks is not long enough for someone to get the splits. Now, the thing about flexibility is that we're all different. And depending on things like how active we are, how healthy is our diet. Okay, our diet has a lot to do with something like flexibility. Just what's our general activity level? How much have we stretched throughout our lives? And how many years did we live a sedentary lifestyle before we started trying to get fit or get flexible? And so you just kind of need to be realistic with yourself. There are very few people who will get their splits in 2 weeks. Maybe really young girls, because as we're younger, we have more mobility, just in general. So you'll notice like babies, for instance, can like bend themselves all kind of crazy ways. And then as we get older, we lose a lot of that mobility and flexibility. So the older we are, the longer it might take for us to get flexible. Okay, she says, I never got my splits. Will I ever get them? Yes. Are you kidding me? Who does something for 2 weeks and is like, oh, nope, didn't work in 2 weeks, I quit. That's just, think about, other examples like somebody on a football team. Let's say you take some person who's never really been active before, and they're like, okay, well, for 2 weeks, I'm going to try to get really good at football, try out for the team, and if 2 weeks doesn't do it, then I'm done. Not realistic, right? So 2 weeks is not long enough. If you just keep at it, breathe into the stretches, I would recommend you trying lots of different videos. We all have very different bodies. So there's going to be certain stretches that maybe feel really good and that give us a lot of, the stretch that we're needing. And, there may be a same stretch that works really well for someone else, but doesn't really feel good for you or doesn't really do anything for you. So I would definitely encourage you to check out some other videos. Okay, am I just not flexible? No, that's ridiculous. Everyone can be flexible. No one is just born flexible. Okay, there was this like one lady in Russia who was born like without a certain part of her joints that made her like, very, very flexible. Okay, aside from situations like that, okay, everyone has the same potential to become flexible. We just have to put in that time to work at it and to work your body. Same way, another good example would be like, okay, I want to learn to bench press 300 pounds. Do you think that in 2 weeks of training my upper body, I'd be able to bench 300 pounds? I don't know. Some of you guys really like me and you would probably be nice and say yes, but realistically the answer is no, okay? So in the same way you wouldn't expect to have, ridiculous muscle gains in 2 weeks, making you able to bench press twice your body weight, you can't expect to get your splits, which is a very deep flexibility challenge, in just 2 weeks. But it doesn't mean that you're not flexible. Everyone just, has to start where they're at, so to speak. So if you're not really that flexible and you're doing some of the Kristen Scott, like super intense, deep hip stretches for splits, your body's not ready for that. And you're not going to probably get the most out of those stretches anyway. So we did a video, I believe about 2 months ago, called Stretches for the Inflexible. It's a really good place to start, but it's very, very complete beginner. So you might start with that video, and if none of those stretches are really giving you anything, giving you that opera singing feeling, then move on to another video. I highly recommend yoga for splits videos for beginners, because when a yoga instructor develops a splits tutorial, they are considering what are the muscle groups we need to strengthen? What is the order that we should start relaxing these muscles in order to get the best stretch? Anyways, I think yoga is fantastic. I believe it's also the safest type of thing to do, because they're all about balancing things out. So if you stretch a certain muscle this way, then in the next pose, they're going to help you stretch or strengthen the complementary muscle group. Anyhow, yoga for splits, just keep at it, breathe into those stretches, be patient and compassionate with your body. Don't force it. Don't feel like you're working against it. Why can't I get my splits? What's wrong with me? No, no, no. Embrace and love and appreciate your body and be really grateful for all that it does to you. And if you're putting love and compassion in this, flexibility endeavor, you're going to get so many more results than feeling like, I'm just not flexible, I can't do this, etc. I wish you really good luck, Becca. I wish you the best of luck. Holy cow. That's a lot of questions. Kobe Lauder. Awesome. Thank you so much for your tip. I don't see a question with your tip though, but I owe you an answer. So if you have a question for me, please let me know. Sometimes I see people comment like, oh, I don't have the tip option in whatever country I'm in, or I'm on my phone. If you can't leave a tip in the chat, we do have a Patreon page, psychetruthpatrons.com, or you can just go to patreon.com and find us. But that's a really good way to donate to us. If you were to go and sign up for our Patreon and let me know that, I will count that as a tip in the chat and answer your question. Not exactly sure what the best way to communicate with that would be, but you can also sign up for wellnessplus.tv. It's only $5 a month, but it really helps us out. It really super helps us out. Like if we had 1/20th of our, or we not even 1/20th, like 1/50th of our subscribers sign up for Wellness Plus, we would be afloat again. We would be afloat again. Right now we are not financially viable anymore thanks to YouTube. So we really appreciate y'all's tips. It literally helps us keep the cameras rolling. And again, if you want to try out wellnessplus.tv before you decide to sign up, we are offering a free week trial anytime in October. You can sign up for your free 7-day trial and just see if it's cool, if you like the videos, and if you'd be interested in signing up. Saji S. How to overcome a lazy attitude towards regular exercise. Man, I don't know if there's really any way to completely overcome that. I mean, I would always rather be laying around than going to work out. But let's see. What are some things that could be helpful? I think the most important thing, and I say this a lot, so I apologize to those of you that are like, oh, here she goes again on her little, I say this a lot, but I really do truly believe this. And until everyone on the planet is healthy, I'm going to just keep repeating myself. So starting really small, I think, is the best way. Any time we are trying to create a change, whether it's changing our habits, changing our job, changing cities, moving somewhere, change is a very difficult thing for us. We're creatures of habit, both emotionally and mentally, but also physically. We have a lot of habits. And the body, for its survival, basically, is very, very habitual. So if you get into the habit of being really sedentary, which is not getting exercise, then your body gets into that habit and it starts to adjust and kind of accommodate for you living a sedentary lifestyle. So when you want to start changing things in your life, you want to eat healthier, you want to exercise more, you want to get better sleep, whatever it is, right? All of us have these kind of different things in our minds that we would like to do, right? I encourage you to, number one, give yourself specific goals. Something really vague and ambiguous, like, I'm going to exercise more. I'm going to eat better. I'm going to sleep better, right? These are very immaterial goals. So it's very hard for us to know if we've reached the goal or not, right? And I think it's just kind of overwhelming, that sense of not knowingness, for lack of a better term. So I encourage you to give yourself really concrete, kind of specific goals that you want to do, but start really small. So an example for somebody with a lazy attitude towards regular exercise would be to start with something like 3 minutes a day of just stretching. Doesn't have to be anything intense. You don't have to get out a yoga mat. You don't have to put on tennis shoes or anything. Just stand up off the couch or whatever you're doing, and you can just, stretch their arms up and down, high knees, which is like marching in place, but just lifting your knee up as high as possible. That's a really simple way to start being a little more active, start making a little physical demand on the body. But it's really simple, right? Like maybe you're sitting there going, oh, I'm going to start with 3 minutes a day, and that's going to but the idea is to just start with a small enough goal that you actually do it. And if you start with 1 minute once a week, but that's what feels realistic for you to start with, then that's fine. And then once you create this habit, so let's say you start with 3 minutes a day in the morning, either before you leave for work or maybe right when you get to work, you take 3 minutes to, like I said, stretch or just kind of move your body around. Other good examples would be, once a day, I'm going to get up from my desk and walk around the building or walk around the office. Or once a week, I'm going to take the stairs instead of the elevators. If you work on the 40th floor, that's probably not realistic, right? But do what's realistic for you. I'm going to walk up 2 flights of stairs once a week. But give yourself these specific goals, things that are really simple, that don't take too much time, that don't involve you having to go to a gym or go somewhere else or whatever. And then you just slowly work your way up from 3 minutes to 5 minutes to 10 minutes a day. And then once you've created that habit, that's the whole goal here, is about creating a new habit. And then once that 3 minute a day habit feels too easy, you move up from there. But what you'll find is that giving yourself these little specific goals makes it much easier to motivate yourself to do it because you know exactly what you need to do. And once you start doing it, you will feel so good that you're like, I reached my goal. It was small, but who cares? I reached my freaking goal, and I'm so proud of myself. And then that kind of gives you this motivation to propel you forward to do something else. Okay, other ideas for, starting to get regular exercise into your lifestyle. I think one of the most important things is to find things you enjoy doing. It's a lot more difficult to motivate yourself to go do something that's not fun. But if you made your regular exercise something fun, like playing flag football, or what I really like to do is going hiking. We have these beautiful miles of nature trails, and I just love going and hiking them. And on a really hot 110 degree day, I get a really good workout from that. But playing tennis, that's another example for me. I'm terrible at tennis. I have never played a game where I actually keep score. That's not what it's about for me. It's just about doing something that I have fun doing, and it gets me moving. It gets me exercising. Yoga, really good example. Tai Chi or karate. There's so many amazing martial arts that are fantastic exercise, and they're just really fun. Super fun. And I just encourage you to kind of get creative. I say this a lot. The live action role players. We see the live action role players from time to time at the park, and all I can think is, man, they look like they are having a freaking blast. And they're running around and getting exercise. What could be better? So get creative, find something you enjoy doing, swimming, biking, hiking, there's just a lot of different things you can do that'll start getting you active. And if you pick something that you have fun doing, you're going to find it's much easier to motivate yourself to go and do that and to want to make time to go and do that activity. Motion sickness. I'm sorry, I don't. Aaron Finn is asking about natural remedies for motion sickness. I actually don't really know. The best thing I would say is ginger. Ginger is a very good kind of anti-nausea, digestive support thing. So like ginger tea. But I don't know if that would really like prevent motion sickness the way Dramamine does. I will see about that though. I will definitely see if I can look into that, because man, oh man, I'm right there with you. I kind of get motion sickness just riding in the back seat of a car. Or if I read in a car, I'm like, oh, damn, it's terrible. Pooja Dapola, gym or yoga, which is best? Whichever one you do. Period. I get so many questions. People are like, when is the best time to work out? What's the best way to work out? And I'm like, whatever you actually do, that is the best way. Between gym or yoga, if you liked them both equally, and you were equally likely to do both of them, I would say do both of them. As a general kind of statement about our health, variety. And this is a cliche, right? Variety is the spice of life. Variety is the spice of life. But it really is true in the sense that variety in your diet, variety in your exercise regimen, variety in just whatever, your life, so that you don't get bored, is really, really great. There are benefits that come with the gym and lifting weights, and there are lots of benefits that come with yoga. So I would say some of both would be probably ideal. For me personally, I'm more of a yoga person. I don't particularly like going and lifting weights and using machines and stuff like that. I really like yoga because it gives me a really awesome workout, and I just kind of stand in one place, in my room or my house or in a class or whatever. Yoga's fantastic because it combines flexibility, cardiovascular exercise, and strength training. Obviously, your body weight strength training isn't quite as extreme as weight training. Weight training has a lot of benefits as well, though. So, it's hard to say one over the other. The best thing is going to be whichever one you do. If you like them both, I would say do both. Yoga some days, gym some days. If you're really sore after going to the gym, it'd be a really good time to do, some flexibility yoga the next day and just kind of stretch it out. Okay, I'm scrolling. Remember that if you leave some questions in the front of your question marks in the front of your question, makes it easier for me to see. Sierra Miller, I don't even know how you made those cool giant blue question marks, but they were really easy to see. So Sierra Miller says, what's your opinion on artificial sweeteners? What's the best, pardon me, a little lisp there. What's the best and healthiest way to sweeten your foods? Goodness gracious, I love this question, Sierra, partly because everyone loves sweets. Just about everyone loves sweets. Anyone who's normal, anyway. Just kidding. It's fine. Those of you out there that don't like sweets, life is probably easier for you, honestly. So, artificial sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners, in my opinion, are one of the absolute worst food chemicals out there. And to the extent that I occasionally eat sugar, I occasionally have caffeine, I occasionally eat things that are fried. I never, ever will eat artificial sweeteners. And I am a stickler. Okay, I read the ingredient label on pretty much every single thing that I put into my body. And artificial sweeteners like aspartame, sucralose, and acesulfame potassium. It looks like ace sulfame, and sometimes it'll just say ace sulfame K. Acesulfame potassium. And then sucralose, I think, is the biggest kind of overlooked one, because, right, they gave it this name that looks just like sucrose. So you're like, oh, it's just sucrose, whatever, it's just sugar. No, sucralose is an artificial sweetener, just like aspartame. If you read your ingredient labels, you will notice that they are using less aspartame now in foods. Why? Well, they found out that it's really dangerous for people, and since all the food companies care so much about our health, they decided to stop using the aspartame. Sorry, I hope that wasn't loud, but that was my way of being like, no. No. What they noticed is that consumers were becoming increasingly aware of the dangers of aspartame, the fact that there are more consumer complaints against aspartame in FDA.gov, okay, where all of the food chemicals are, being whatever you want to call it. So when people get headaches or dizziness or pain or whatever as a side effect from a food chemical, they report it to the FDA. And there are more reports about aspartame, negative effects from aspartame, than any other food chemical. All right, so the consumer was starting to become aware of the dangers of aspartame and that it was causing headaches and dizziness and all kinds of issues for people that were drinking Diet Coke or whatever. That they stopped using aspartame, but they didn't take out the artificial sweeteners completely. They just used one with a different name that's probably just as harmful for you as the aspartame. It just has a different name. So you gotta really be a stickler, especially if you are someone that likes to eat candy bars and soda pops and whatever. They are sneaking these artificial sweeteners into almost everything, and there's no little label that tells you it contains artificial sweeteners. The only way you're going to know that is by looking at the ingredient list and seeing aspartame, sucralose, or acesulfame potassium. And they're probably going to come out with another one sometime soon, because I've been talking about these for years now. Okay, so artificial sweeteners, worst of the worst. One of the only things that I will not eat, ever. Absolutely will not eat ever. They are known neurotoxins, which means they kill your brain cells. Not to mention that a lot of people get, headaches and migraines and all kinds of stuff as a result from them as well. Okay, so what's the healthiest way to sweeten your foods? I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. Okay, totally off topic, but I just had to throw that in there. The healthiest way to sweeten your foods is with natural sources of sugar. Naturally occurring sources of sugar. So that would be things like fruit. Although you wouldn't necessarily use fruit to sweeten your foods, but fruit is a great way to satisfy your sweet tooth. And if you can get in the habit of, instead of reaching for a candy bar or a soda, reach for a banana or some watermelon or strawberries or grapes or an apple, you're doing such a tremendous favor for yourself. Because when you eat a piece of fruit, it also contains tons of different nutrients, tons of antioxidants, which basically antioxidants, anti-aging. Antioxidants, anti-aging. So antioxidants, nutrients, fiber. A piece of fruit is just about 1,000 times better for you than a soda or a candy bar. So fruit, fantastic. As far as sweetening your foods, things like honey and maple syrup would be kind of my two top, and dates would kind of be my top choices. So honey, maple syrup, naturally occurring sweeteners. You just have to be kind of a stickler on reading the ingredient label and just making sure that whatever you're buying is just 100% honey or 100% maple syrup. A lot of the pancake syrups and stuff like that in the grocery store, if you actually read the back, it'll be like high fructose corn syrup, caramel color, maple flavoring, and that's not healthy. That's just not healthy for you. All right. But if you find something that's just actual maple syrup or actual honey, those are really good sweeteners. Dates are also fantastic because they're, I don't know if you've ever seen a date, but it kind of looks like a big giant raisin and it has a pit in the middle. But those are really good for sweetening things when you're baking or adding them to things like smoothies to add some sweetness. Dates are also really tasty and delicious just on their own. I know lots of people that just kind of sit there and eat dates. There are other options now out there that are becoming more popular, like agave nectar, coconut sugar, stevia. These are all options that are way better for you than artificial sweeteners. There are some skeptics, you could say, about agave syrup. It is a processed food. So compared to something like honey, that's it in its natural state, it is what it is. They don't process it. I mean, they maybe do something to it between getting it out of the hive and putting it in a jar, but it's not as processed as something like coconut sugar or agave nectar, where you're really, the syrup, the sweetened syrup that you get is completely different from what the plant looked like in its natural state. There are a lot of different stevia brands out there right now. There's like liquid stevia, there's little packets of stevia. Stevia is an herbal sweetener. So that's actually like a sugar-free sweetener. It has a little bit of a unique taste, but I definitely will, choose stevia over regular sugar. And a lot of times when you're in restaurants and stuff like that, stevia is probably going to be as close to you as you can get. If I'm in a restaurant and I need a little packet of sugar, I'll either opt for the sugar in the raw, the brown sugar, which is still sugar. It's still not good for you, but at least it's not bleached and it's not as processed as your white sugar. Either that or a stevia packet, or if I'm in a restaurant, I might just ask them if they can bring me a little bit of honey or something like that. And usually, depending on where you are, they will have something like that they can bring you. So natural sweeteners, things that are in their natural state, for baking and stuff like that, applesauce is actually really fantastic. A lot of times I will cut the recommended sugar in half and add applesauce instead. Works great. And things like banana nut bread and but anyhow, that's something you can find a lot of information out there on the internet as far as ideas of ways to sweeten things naturally. But I hope that I gave you some good info there. If nothing else, people, stop drinking Diet Coke. It's terrible for you. And it actually has more caffeine in it than regular Coke, which is why it's more addictive. Anyways, those artificial sweeteners are way worse for you than sugar. The only thing I will not eat, ever, artificial sweeteners. Destiny Farty, I'm trying to start a diet, but it's not working. Can you give me advice? I'm really sorry. That's just like the most vague question ever. What do you mean it's not working? It's not working like you can't stay on the diet? It's not working like you've been eating this way for a couple months and you haven't lost any weight? It's not working. It doesn't give me any information. So, I love Brittany Raymond. Can you do a video on back stretches so I can stretch my back because I'm a dancer? I don't know if you've looked on our channel, but we probably have like 500 back stretches videos. There are a lot of like back pain videos, yoga for back pain. But I know we've also done several videos that are specifically on back flexibility for dancers. If you put in, dance as a search term on our channel, that would probably be a good way to find it. Or back, if you put in back flexibility on our channel, you'll probably find those videos. But we've had a lot of people who have shown either like a strength and flexibility for the back. There was a recent video on like back and core strength and flexibility, which would be really good. I would just encourage you to put in either dance or stretch or back flexibility as a search term on our channel. And I mean, we've got tons and tons and tons of videos that can help you out there. Henry Levine, my son gets migraines from high sugar foods. We limit the sugar, but how can we treat the migraines when they occur? So migraines are a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like the Bigfoot of health. It's like we know, well, I guess it's not like a Bigfoot, man. But anyways, migraines, we know they exist. I personally have experienced my fair share of migraines in my time. We know they exist, but the science behind them is kind of elusive. That would be the word. Migraines, super elusive. We really don't completely know exactly what causes them or how to resolve them. It's great that you were able to, recognize or observe that high sugar foods were giving him migraines, and cutting that sugar intake hopefully should start to prevent those migraines from occurring at all. If the migraines are still occurring very frequently, there's a chance that there's another cause, another underlying cause somewhere. The first thing that I would consider, since you notice that high sugar foods cause the migraines, to start looking at just general high carbohydrate foods. So when we're talking about white bread, the starchy flour that they use, so they actually take out a couple different parts of the grain and isolate the starch, and that's what they make white bread from. So white bread is almost like pure sugar in a way. And certainly in terms of the way that it acts inside of our bloodstream and inside of our body is very similar. So you might just try to limit the general carbohydrate intake. Things like potato chips, white bread, pasta, these types of foods are usually pretty popular for kids. I know, but that could be another potential cause. If it's not that, there could be even another food allergy or food sensitivity, something like gluten or soy, or even dairy is kind of a common one. As far as treating migraines when they occur, I do not have a solution for you. I also think that it should be very targeted to his age. But I think you'll probably find a lot of information if you just search around. But I would search specifically for, migraines in 7-year-old boys or however old he is. And you'll probably find a lot of people out there who are at least sharing their experiences of what worked for them or what worked for their kids. And I just wish you the best of luck, because migraines, I mean, I can't imagine being a kid with a migraine. I didn't start getting them until just a couple years ago. I can't imagine going through that as a kid. So Henry, I wish the very, very best for you guys. I get a lot of questions about migraines, so maybe that's something I just need to really delve into and maybe do a whole video on that topic. So I wish you the best of luck. Sorry I could not really help you out in that arena. Scrolling again. OPM Devil, good to see you. OPM Devil, one of our longtime Psychetruth fans and supporters. Really good to see you here in the chat. OPM Devil says, I like fidget spinners. Is it normal? I'm 39 years old and single. I actually fidgeted with my first fidget spinner just a couple weeks ago. I had seen, the craze for them or whatever, but I hadn't ever actually fidgeted one, if that's what you call it. And it's really fun. I probably could sit there for like hours playing with them. The one that I have, I wish I had it here. I should have brought it. But anyway, so like kind of like spin it and then kind of like try to like balance it on my thumb and then kind of like move it around, and you can like feel the inertia of the spinning. Anyways, so I think it's perfectly normal. Fidget spinners are a huge craze right now. I know it's like, I guess mostly with kids and teenagers and stuff, but I know plenty of adults that are equally entertained by fidget spinners, myself included. I would definitely say there's nothing abnormal about liking fidget spinners. Halloween 365, Tage, Grusel, and Growen. I don't know if I said that right. Anyways, Halloween 365, I can say that much with confidence. I have neck pain all the time. Nothing helps for very long. Do you have any tips? Okay, so neck pain. Man, I do have a lot of tips. I could probably talk for the entire rest of this chat about tips, but let me see if I can answer this question with somewhat succinct. Okay, so one of the first things, and the reason I'm turning to the side is because I want to show you this kind of posture thing. If you are experiencing neck pain all the time and nothing really seems to help, chances are there is something going on with your posture that is the cause of your neck pain. So really common ones. It's kind of hard because when I turn to the side, I can't see the screen. Get my hair out of the way here. Okay, so good neck posture. And I don't even have the best neck posture, but good neck posture, you think about your ear being over the shoulder blade. Okay, you think about like bringing the shoulders back even. So a lot of us get what is now called forward head posture, and it's just like it sounds. So rather than the neck being aligned and the head being kind of straight and ear kind of in line with the shoulder, which I hope it is, I can't see, we start doing this. Okay, so it's either because we're looking at the screen of the computer and we start leaning forward, or we're looking at our phone. Okay, but that forward head posture is incredibly common now, and I would just kind of challenge you to start observing your posture, and it'll probably be kind of hard, because the thing about our posture and the way we sit all the time is we don't really think much about it. But if you can start to notice your posture, notice if your shoulders are caving forward. So this is kind of like the first step, is the shoulders start caving forward and then the neck juts out. Whatever it's doing, right? It's just so terrible for you. So not only are you kind of crimping this really important part of our spine right here, okay, connecting our spine with our skull, you kind of put a kink in that, and that can kind of have a domino effect on the health of your spine, not to mention causing you a lot of neck and shoulder and upper back pain. So start noticing your posture. One thing you can do is kind of gently tuck your chin, and it'll just keep you from jutting out. So if you kind of think about tucking your chin, you'll feel there's these little tiny muscles on the back of the neck that kind of engage when we pull our head back over our shoulders. I've seen a lot of people even recommend that you kind of do that exercise for a couple minutes a day, just pulling your head back and strengthening those little neck muscles. Start to notice your neck posture, and if you are doing that forward head tilt, it is probably the biggest cause of neck pain and shoulder tension, and it's something we can help. We can do something about it. We just have to start noticing it and then trying to correct our posture. I've known some people who set a little timer, like a little reminder to go off, and it just says posture. And so like every hour or whatever, or half hour, just have this like reminder, hey, check in with your posture. How are you sitting? Are you screwing up your neck? Let's see, neck pain. I mean, that's probably the big one. You know, if you were having isolated pain, you know, which is like, oh, I get really bad neck aches, you know, once a week or something like that, then I would think maybe something different. But if you just have this consistent neck pain all the time, my guess is that fixing your posture would probably be a really, really big help for that. If you have a Halloween 365, if you have anything else to add, like something more specific, such as where you feel the pain, or is it like a limited motion where you can't turn your head from the side? Is it, you know, just a little more information could be helpful. I do have a lot of neck stretching videos on this channel. We've had, you know, probably maybe 100 or 200 videos just on stretches for the neck. So just kind of know that the same way you, you know, want to build flexibility, you know, like somebody was asking earlier about flexibility to get their splits. There's not as much flexibility in the neck as that, so to speak. But it is important to stretch our neck out. So neck stretches, shoulder stretches, can be a really good way to reduce neck pain, and you just need to be consistent with them. And I would say try a lot of different people's videos, and then you'll start to find the stretches that really feel good to you. One really good one for me is to, so if you think about if your ear went straight to your head, and then you just slightly start bending your head forward. So I start feeling this really nice stretch. It's right along the back of my neck. And then you can kind of take your hand and just really gently kind of pull. Oh, that feels good. And I'm just getting this really nice stretch right here. And then gently come out of it. Think about the other side. Whew. Think about reaching the shoulder down. Getting this great stretch all in the side of my neck. Okay. So it's not Corrina Stretch Out live chat. But anyhow, you know, do neck stretches. Neck pain stretches. We've got a lot of them on this channel. Jarvis Morris. Corrina, what is one food you recommend for everyone? Apples? Spinach? Broccoli? Broccoli, spinach, kale, apples, bananas, strawberries, raspberries, you know, I think ultimately it's hard to say that there's any one food that every single person on the planet should eat. There's probably somebody somewhere that's allergic to one of those foods and can't eat it. I'm not exactly sure how to answer this question. I would say vegetables. And there's just tons and tons of different vegetables. Sometimes people will be like, Corrina, what do I do if I don't like vegetables? I'm like, really? You've tried every single vegetable on the planet and you don't like any of them? Really? I don't believe that. I think there's probably very few people on Earth who have actually tried every single vegetable that exists. That might not even be possible. Maybe there's like somebody in the Guinness Book of World Records who's like, I've eaten every vegetable that there is. So anyways, they all taste different, you know? They're all different. So just because you don't like broccoli doesn't mean that you don't like vegetables. Anyways. So we were talking about cravings earlier. And then somebody chimed in, I crave things like cakes. I don't crave fruit. Well, the thing is that, remember what I was saying, our bodies are very habitual. And our diet and our cravings are also very habitual. So if you're someone that's eating cakes and stuff a lot, your body starts to be like, oh my God, there's tons of cake around here. Your body inside, it doesn't realize that we're in a controlled environment. Most of us have as much food at our disposal as possible. Okay, most of us are not living in an environment where famine is an option. And I know that there are a lot of people in the world who are living in that situation, and I'm not trying to be insensitive to them. I would imagine people that are in that situation are not coming to my live chat about weight loss. But for most of us, right, there's not a actual famine that's going to happen that's going to prevent us from being able to eat food. But our bodies don't know that. Our bodies don't know that you are choosing to eat cake all the time. So it starts to just interpret this information that like, wow, there's tons of cake everywhere. And cake is a great source of sugar, which is energy. So part of the reason that we crave sugar and that we crave carbohydrates, pardon me for this analogy, but it's like our bodies are sugar junkies. Think about when you've watched a movie about a junkie, right? They will sell their bed to get drugs. They will sell their mom to get drugs, right? They're a junkie. They're addicted. So this is kind of what happens to us when we eat a lot of carbohydrates and we eat a lot of sugar, especially the highly processed sugar. And remember what I said earlier about the white bread. It's just isolated starch. That's why whole grain bread is whole grain bread and it's brown, because it's made from the whole wheat grain. But that white bread, they just isolate out the starchy part. So when you're talking about white bread and you're talking about white sugar, or just what it'll say on the ingredient label, sugar, okay? That stuff is like the cocaine of sugar. It's a natural plant that has been through a huge amount of processing, and now they've isolated and refined and concentrated the sugar. So refined sugar, in my mind, is it's like cocaine. Okay? It's highly refined, it's highly toxic, and it's highly addictive. So as we start to eat sugar and eat sugar and eat sugar, and our body becomes more addicted to that quick sugar, that quick energy, because sugar and carbohydrates, especially just pure starch like white bread, it almost immediately converts into energy in the body. It's a very fast form of fuel, which is part of the reason that we crave sugar, because the body's like, I need fuel, I need it fast. Well, a healthy body, okay, when our bodies are in ideal health, our bodies can burn sugar for fuel, and if there's no sugar in the bloodstream, our bodies will burn fat as fuel. So I say this a lot, but it's like all the fat on our bodies, it's just like little energy storage units. But it takes a little bit more work for the body to burn fat for fuel than to just crave sugar, make you eat sugar and burn that for fuel anyways. So when I say that it's like our body is a junkie, it's like the body becomes addicted to sugar. It knows that all it has to do is tell its person, I'm craving sugar, go eat a candy bar, and boom, you've just fed the junkie, so to speak. But sugar is not the cleanest energy source. And most of the time when we eat sugar and we eat white bread, we're actually eating more sugar than our body can burn at that moment. So anytime we eat an excess amount of sugar than the body can use right then, it gets turned into fat. So when we talk about weight loss, Okay, weight loss is about training and forcing your body to go into the fat reserves, go into the storage units, and turn that fat into a ketone and use that for energy, rather than just telling you to go drink a soda and get its sugar that way. So a lot of times you'll hear people talk about sugar burners. Those are people whose bodies basically forget how to burn fat for fuel. And once you are a sugar burner, you will be caught in this constant tumbleweed feedback loop of craving sugar, the body burning what it can, storing the rest of fat, and then instead of going in and using that stored sugar, it just tells you to eat more sugar, and you do it because you're a junkie. And the process goes and goes. And then you have all this fat, all these fat reserves building up. Your weight is increasing. And the more that you continue to eat sugar and white bread and starchy foods, the more you perpetuate the process. So turning your body into an efficient fat burning machine is what losing weight is all about. And there's a lot of different ways we can do that. Getting a hold of your cravings is a really big place to start. And for people that do crave cakes and candies and cookies and pastries and donuts and whatever, you've got to just start saying no to those cravings. And I think the best way to do that is to find something just a little bit healthier to satisfy that craving with. You know, so instead of eating, you know, a white bread muffin, maybe you can get something that's a whole grain muffin or a banana nut bread muffin or something, right? You just start making slow little steps towards a healthier way to satisfy that craving. And just know that once you can kind of, you know, think about a junkie in rehab. You know, when a junkie first starts trying to go off of their drugs, it's really hard, it's really painful. They're going to go through withdrawal and all kinds of horrible things. But then at some point, they're going to kind of get over the ridge. The body starts functioning the way it's supposed to, and they're able to kind of gain control of that. And your body will start burning your fat reserves if you stop constantly giving it sugar and pastries and white bread. Hope that helps answer that question. Urban Sanjay, what do you think about an inversion table? So an inversion table, a lot like it sounds, you kind of lean up against it. Usually you strap yourself in, because then you invert yourself and you go upside down. So the benefits of an inversion table, or inversion therapy, I've sometimes heard it called, you can also go upside down like that with a yoga trapeze, which we've shown on this channel before. But basically, you can think about how, you know, when we're standing up, oh my god, I can use my baby Groot! Oh my god, I get to use baby Groot for this answer. I'm so excited. Oh, I'm Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. Okay, sorry. I am a goofball. I'm a goofball. Okay, so we've got baby Groot here. So you can think about all throughout the day, gravity is pulling downward, right? So he's got his little spine here, right? And so the little junctions in between the vertebrae of the spine start to become compacted. And you can just think about how gravity, especially with his big old giant baby Groot head weighing down on him, right, is just weighing down on the spine and kind of compacting the little discs in between the vertebrae. There's these just kind of little, I don't know, spongy, for lack of a better word, discs that help protect us, right? So the same way that you would think about, you know, having your hair get stuck in your baby Groot, you know, having a little bit of cushion in between your vertebrae so that your movements are more gentle and you don't actually get the bones of your spine grinding on each other. So what can happen from gravity, right, is those little discs just start to get compressed. And the benefit of going upside down is that now gravity's working the other way to create length and create openness in the spine. So, from the perspective that tightness, compacted, unhealthy discs in between the vertebrae are a big part of back pain and limited mobility in the back. You know, a lot of times we may notice that we are not as mobile as we used to be. A lot of that can come just because the spine is not as healthy. So going upside down is a really fantastic way to just kind of add a little bit more openness, a little bit more space, help those discs to open up. I personally prefer using a yoga trapeze to go upside down. I've not actually used an inversion table. Maybe like one time in my life I saw one. I don't know. But inversion therapy or going upside down is really beneficial. There's also some circulatory benefits that come from going upside down. So you can think about how all day gravity is pulling down toward our feet, or flower pot in this case. So as we flip upside down, now gravity is, our circulation is not just controlled by gravity. Obviously our circulatory system is sending things up and down no matter which way we're standing. But at least when we kind of inverse gravity a little bit, it just gives the circulation, makes the circulation a little bit more easy for the blood to get back to your head. Obviously, if you stay upside down too long, you get too much blood going to your head. You need to go back up. But I think inversion is a fantastic thing. If you don't have an inversion table, you can do simple things like putting your legs up a wall and just kind of resting your feet up on a wall. That's not going to open up your spine so much, but it's really good for circulation of the legs and to often reduce low back pain and stuff like that. Again, I personally, prefer a yoga swing over an inversion table, but I also think that, depending on who the person is, an inversion table may just be more workable for you. Sylvia Malerba, I'm trying to avoid animal food at night. Is it good to eat legumes for dinner? Isn't it too much carbs? You do definitely get some carbohydrates from the legume family, which is primarily beans, garbanzo beans, chickpeas, which are the same thing. I don't know why I said that. So chickpeas, split peas, kidney beans, black beans, etc. So the thing about carbs that make them a really bad idea for taking them in at night, number one is that if you're just having like really starchy carbs like white bread or sugar or white bread, sugar, basically, you get a very big insulin spike. What they call the glycemic index. Often what they have now found is even more important is what they call the glycemic load. So that's like the collective effect of the meal you're eating on your insulin levels, on your blood glucose levels. So part of what makes white bread and sugar so bad is the lack of fiber, fat, and protein, basically, the other macronutrient groups that help to balance out that effect on the blood sugar. To either slow down how quickly that sugar is broken down and how quickly it raises your blood sugar level. So, talking about your meal at night, I really doubt you're going to just eat a big pot of beans and that's it. So you can think about, okay, well, what are you eating with them? First thing to realize is, with the legume family, is that yes, there is a good amount of carbohydrates, but there's also a huge amount of fiber. There's also minerals and all kinds of other nutrients that you're getting from it too. But I believe that the glycemic index or glycemic load of something like beans is actually very low. And it's because of that protein content and fiber content that kind of balances out the effect of those carbohydrates. You could also do things like add some other healthy fats and protein to the meal to even balance out that glycemic load a little bit more. So avocado is a great example of a really super healthy fat to eat. I would definitely encourage you to eat lots of vegetables at dinner time. If you're making a pot of beans, I'm a big crock pot person. I actually did this last week. Made a big, crock pot of beans, and I just threw in a whole lot of different vegetables. And then I actually even poured spinach, raw spinach in it at the very end, and it just kind of barely cooks in there, just slightly. But adding a whole lot of vegetables would be a fantastic thing to do. And then just know that I think legumes are probably a really good healthy option. Some of them have a higher carb to fiber ratio. You could look up the glycemic index of beans if you wanted to really go in depth there. But I would say that's probably a good meal to have at night. And you can just balance those carbs with more healthy fats, more healthy protein. What are some foods you should never eat after a workout? Sierra Miller. Really good question. I like this. So it's not a food. I guess it's more of a beverage. Alcohol. Probably the worst thing you can do after a workout is to go and have alcohol. When we work out, especially a good cardiovascular workout where you've really, kind of gotten your heart rate up, really made a good energetic demand on the body, your body will keep burning fat even after you stop working out. Up until the moment that you spike your blood sugar up too high. So, things to avoid after a workout: Gatorade, or during your workout for that matter. I need to make a list. God, there's just all these things I want to freaking do videos on. That is one of them. It's liquid sugar. It's liquid sugar. The worst thing that you can do while you're working out or after your workout is have a bunch of sugar. Especially something like Gatorade, which is liquid sugar with no fiber, no other nutrients, no protein or fat. It's like literally liquid sugar. It goes straight to your bloodstream. So stay away from Gatorade. A good way to refuel your electrolytes is coconut water. It does have some natural sweetness, a little bit of natural sugars that are just present from the coconut, but it's such a mild amount that it's not going to bump you into that really strong insulin effect that something like 50 grams of refined sugar in a Gatorade would give you. Alcohol is another thing that will immediately push your body out of that fat burning zone, ketosis, that we get into when we're in a good workout. So definitely no alcohol after a workout. I would recommend that you just try to prioritize vegetables, healthy protein, healthy fat. If you're gonna eat carbohydrates, just make sure it's a good complex carbohydrate like whole grains or brown rice, something that's not just starch to immediately flood your bloodstream with sugar. Okay, so Sylvia Malerba, I really apologize, I'm probably butchering your last name, but Sylvia says, how is flexibility related with food? That sounds interesting. So this comes from earlier. There was a question about flexibility, and I just kind of mentioned that our diet plays a role in that too. So So that's what this question is referring to. So flexibility related with food. Our muscles, in order to contract, need calcium, and our muscles, in order to relax, need magnesium. Now, calcium and magnesium are just two of the minerals that are of a lot of importance, but I'm just going to use them as an example. And just know that there are a lot of other really important nutrients that play a role in basically this whole process of our muscles engaging and either tightening, loosening, or lengthening, etc. So magnesium is a really, really big one. And unfortunately, it is very commonly deficient, or people are commonly deficient in magnesium. A lot of times we're getting an excess of calcium because they add a lot of calcium to our foods. Calcium is really important. I'm not trying to knock it. I'm just saying that they kind of have overdone it. So a lot of us we get a lot of calcium, but then we're very deficient in magnesium. And this imbalance in minerals can affect the way that our muscles function and how efficient our muscles function. How efficiently do we use energy? I mentioned this kind of in passing, I believe, in regards to the sugar cravings, or somebody had asked about, how to control cravings. And so I was talking about how, our cravings are largely the way that our body communicates with us to say, hey, I'm deficient in this. Can you please, eat something like that? So salt as an example. If we're craving salty foods, it's generally our body's way of telling us that we're deficient in minerals. So when you eat a healthy food, when you eat a natural food, something like brown rice, quinoa, nuts, seeds, vegetables, they give you a huge amount of minerals and nutrients. Unfortunately, most of us are eating donuts and sandwiches and pizza and sodas. And what these foods do, so not only do they not give you any nutrients, but they also zap nutrients from your body. So a lot of times when they look at problems with things like bone density, to go back to the calcium example, it's not so much that the person is just not getting any calcium in their diet, but the diet is so full of processed foods and refined sugar and who knows what, that the body has to go into your bones, pull out some of the calcium so that it can go and process and handle all the foods that you've eaten. So I kind of consider those junk foods, sodas, processed foods, they're like negative nutrients. Like, not only do you not get nutrients from the food, but eating that food is going to zap nutrients out of your body. And in a lot of cases, like, pull nutrients out of your bones or whatever. So when we're talking about diet, the ability of your muscles to function the way they're supposed to, the ability of your body to efficiently burn fat or efficiently create energy for your workout or whatever it is, does come back to your nutritional deficiencies, so to speak, or how well you are supplying your body with the healthy nutrients that it needs. There are a lot of other nutrients I could throw in as an example. MSM, I actually can't even say, it's like methyl, some long thing, but MSM is a really fantastic kind of, it's not a muscle booster, so to speak, but just a very, very important nutrient when it comes to both flexibility and strength. Magnesium is a big one we talked about. Healthy fats. Let's talk about how does our body create the, little, what are they called? The little junctions between our joints. all of these little areas that, again, as we, I don't want to say as we age, but as our life goes by, okay, the body is using the foods that you're eating, using the ingredients of the food you're using as building blocks to create itself. So when you hear that saying, you are what you eat, like, it's literal. So I ate an avocado and my body broke down all those fats, and then it actually uses those fats, like maybe in my brain, or maybe to, soften and create a little cushion for the joints in my elbow, or whatever it is. So we are what we eat. And if you're constantly eating junk foods and you're not putting in those good, healthy building blocks your body needs, there's a whole lot of different areas that are going to start to either degrade or not be able to be repaired. So let's say that you banged your elbow on something. And maybe you didn't necessarily break it, but there's all kinds of damage and stuff going on. Well, at that point, your body is going to need, a bunch of amino acids to help it build some new muscle. And, it's going to need more protein. It's going to need some fats to go in there. And if you're not getting those things in your diet, then you're not going to have the healthiest joints or the healthiest muscles and bones. So that's not something that I've really talked a lot about before, but I really like that as a topic. Maybe I'll do a whole video, and I can really do some more research too to come up with some more specific examples of nutrients that are required for flexibility. Definitely healthy fats, definitely minerals, especially magnesium. I would not recommend eating a cat. Abigail Halliday, can meditation relieve sickness? Guys, we are getting into the final stretch here of the live chat. So I'm going to do a last call for tips. If anyone else wants to throw out a tip right now, I will go ahead and answer one more question after this one. And remember that you can get a free week trial of wellnessplus.tv during the month of October. So try it out, see if you like it, see if maybe it's worth your $5 a month. Which, I mean, that's like one Starbucks coffee a month. So give up one Starbucks coffee a month in order to have wellnessplus.tv, hundreds of videos at your fingertips. Okay, so Abigail Halliday, can meditation relieve sickness? I would say yes. Because some of the biggest benefits of meditation are reduced stress, reduced anxiety, better ability to focus. It makes us more effective. It makes us more efficient when we kind of exercise our brain, so to speak, by challenging it to focus. That's what meditation is about. Meditation isn't about like, oh, you just have to think about nothing, and that's what you do. No, the exercise or the challenge that creates the benefit we get from meditation is that you're sitting there and you're either focusing on your breath or you're focusing on a guided meditation, and then a distraction comes. And maybe you're thinking about your rent, or you're thinking about your bills or whatever. And so the benefit of meditation comes when those distractions start to come into your mind and you make the choice to let that distraction just float right by. And you practice staying focused on your breath or on the guided meditation you're listening to. And so in this way, you're building your brain's strength, so to speak, for focusing and for avoiding distractions. So in that way, I know you asked about sickness, but that's one of the big benefits of meditation. And then as far as meditation improving your health, or your immune system, just know that anything that you do that reduces stress makes you healthier. So stress destroys your immune system. Stress destroys your emotional well-being, that's for darn sure. Stress can even destroy your body's ability to burn fat. Stress and belly fat have been found to be very highly correlated. Again, not really related, but stress and immunity do not work together. So anything that you do to reduce your stress or get more sleep is gonna help you relieve sickness or help you be healthier, so to speak. Man, there are just so many questions in here. It's impossible for me to actually get to all of them. I am getting the signal to go ahead and wrap up my live chat, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I really want to thank you all for being here. I would also just kind of beg and plead with you to go to wellnessplus.tv and enjoy your free trial week. Check it out, see if you like it. I would love for you to even come back to our channel and let us know what you think. Or send us an email, psychetruth@gmail.com. Send us an email and let us know what you think of Wellness Plus. I would love for you guys to go check it out, get your free 7-day trial. Maybe you can watch all 650 videos during your free week trial, and then you don't have to sign up until we post another 650 videos. But guys, if you watched our, I guess it was my video on Monday that went up, we broke 2 million subscribers, which is awesome. I'm so grateful to you guys for that. But we are making less than half the income from YouTube that we were making at this time last year. So YouTube is making things really, really hard on us. It's hard, like I said earlier, just in all honesty, we are not we are not even covering our expenses right now. We're just barely scraping by each month. And we're not going to be able to function like that for a whole lot longer. So I'm really hoping that we can build up wellnessplus.tv, get some people to come and sign up, and, check it out. Try it out for a week. See if you like it. See if it's worth your $5 a month. And, we're just so proud, honestly, of all of the work that we've put into it. Anas Muhammad, I'm seeing you gripe at me about how you want me to answer your question, but I don't see your question. So people, please just understand, I'm a human being. I'm a person. I've got this little tiny comment box I'm scrolling through. I really do my best to get to as many questions as I can, but I'm a human and I can't get to all of them. And when you guys are want your question answered, don't gripe at me about how I haven't answered your question. Just leave your question again. Just leave your question again. And if I see it, I'll answer it. But you being please answer just one question. Please answer my question. I have to, and I did. I scrolled back up. I tried to find your question. I couldn't see it. So I apologize for that. Come back next week. I do this every single Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. And remember, guys, that if you leave a tip with your question, YouTube will actually bump your question up to the top. It's the best way to guarantee you get an answer and make sure your answer is next. So we had one person leave a tip today. Luckily, my ability to do live chats is not based solely on how many tips I get, or else I wouldn't be doing live chats anymore. Because you guys apparently like your stuff free. You don't like it when you have to even pay $1. $1. Jesus. So wellnessplus.tv, it's $10 technically, but we've been offering a 50% off coupon. Since we just started it a couple months ago. And then for the month of October, you can try a free 7-day trial. 1 week of free wellnessplus.tv to try it out and see if you like it. Rajani, thank you so much on your kind comment there, that it's a good website. I'm really glad that you liked it. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. I cannot wait to see you all again next week. Be sure to come back, check it out. You can also, if you're interested in setting up a one-on-one health coaching consultation with me, email corrinanow@gmail.com. It actually has the word email in it. Email corrinanow@gmail.com, and you can talk to me about setting up a health session. I try to get to, to get to all of my emails and answer people, but again, I'm human. I can't get to everyone, and there's so many questions now that come in. I can't get to all of them. But check it out, wellnessplus.tv. Thank you all so much for being here. And I will see you guys again next week. It was time for live chat. The Psychetruth live chat. Every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on your YouTube machine. Live chat. Live chat, live chat, live chat. Psychetruth, live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. Oh my gosh. Rajani, whoa. That's really sweet. Oh, you didn't even ask a question here. Rajani Reddy, you are the champ of this live chat. Thank you so much. Rajani Reddy, you're a rock star. I am Groot. Rajani, thank you so much. That is really, really kind of you. Thank you so much for your generous tips, and I hope you'll come back next week because I owe you an answer to a question. I don't see any questions here, but hopefully you will have a question for me next week. I definitely owe you an answer. Thank you so much for your kindness and generosity. You just totally made my day. Thank you. Anyhow, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. It's Halloween month. That's exciting. There is Halloween stuff everywhere I go. It's kind of insane. And it's still like 85 degrees here in Austin, Texas. It's almost still like summer. It's just really humid. But maybe we'll do something fun for Halloween for you guys. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, and I will see y'all next week. I am Groot.